Narayana. Hari Om and good evening from Pittsburgh. Shloka 40. This is part 3 of our review of Atma Bodha. In Shloka 40, we begin the the sixth wave of thoughts. Shlokas 2 through 5 talk about the need for knowledge. Shloka 6 through 9 discusses our general ignorance. Ignorance but not magnified. Shlokas 10 through 15 addresses our specific ignorance. Ignorance in detail. Shlokas 16 through 29 studies general reflection, vichara at a more abstract level. Shlokas 30 to 39, this is where our review had ended last week, is specific reflection, systematic thinking about how do I let go of ignorance and hold on to knowledge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now the sixth wave of thought, which is Shlokas 40 to 45. And the seventh wave of thoughts is 46 through 68. 40 to 45 is our general benefit. If you engage in reflection, you will let go of ignorance, hold on to knowledge. This will be your benefit generally. When we get to 46 to 68, which is the completion of Atma Bodha, this will be your benefit specifically. So we're on 40. When one knows the Absolute, it is the same as realizing the Absolute. In our study, knowing is realizing. This is a subjective science. Whatever you study, you become. This is for Shloka 40, and our reminder is absolute, the absolute. And the sutra is attach to the detached. When I attach to the absolute, I detach from the relative. In 41, Acharya Shankara talks about when we start to reflect on the absolute, even the deepest duality is transcended. We don't just transcend the body, breath, mind, intellect, the deepest parts that I'm not, that is the ego, even that is transcended. The reminder in 41 is light. Light, and the sutra is live light like light. When I live lightly, I am light-hearted, I have a light carbon footprint, I start to live like light, which is being happy. In 42, Acharya Shankara shares, in contemplation, our identification changes. The more I have this in my mind, perpetually, at work, at school, at home, while I'm sleeping, my identification changes. The reminder in 42 is flint. I think it's called a flint. You know those things that start fires, is that called a flint? Okay. Things that start fire. That's your reminder. And the sutra for 42 is lift yourself above restlessness. Lift yourself above restlessness. We talked about the adani here, lower self, a higher self. In Shloka 43, Acharya Shankara is sharing, we have to make this idea of Brahman, of bigness, real. That is manana. Manana is the message is real. And contemplate on this. Make the message real and personal. We are studying ourself, we are studying our nature. In 43, the reminder is dawn, that is in the morning, before the sun comes out. And the sutra is momentum frees up potential. Momentum frees up potential. Like the rays of the sun brings on the sun, when we start to engage in more mananam, we start to engage in more nididhyasana. The more nididhyasana we engage in, the more freedom there is, or mukti. In Shloka 44, Acharya Shankara is teaching us we are what we are seeking. We keep looking around for joy, but we are joy. And we come to know this. Knowing is realizing that we are what we are seeking. In 44, the reminder is necklace. Someone's looking for their necklace, but they know that they're wearing it. They realize that necklace. They're benefited by it. And this sutra is, we are born from brilliance. When I know my parents are brilliant, my grandparents are brilliant, and on and on and on, I start to express that same quality. In 45, Acharya Shankara is talking about appearances. An appearance is not an entity. An appearance is not a reality. If a ghost is appearing on a post, that's not an entity, that's not a reality. This is all shared in Shloka 45. The reminder is ghost, and the sutra is divinity is in the details. Divinity is in the details. The more I know Atma Bodha in detail, the more divinity makes sense, and being an extrovert makes less sense. With that, 45, our general benefit is completed. Now we get into our specific benefit in Shloka 46. In Shloka 46, we talk about I and mine. I and mine are known as attachment. But when one is infinite, there cannot be attachment. Where there's no attachment, there's only freshness. When one is attached, everything becomes dull. But when there's no attachment, then all becomes fresh. The reminder in 46 is directions, and the sutra is no separation means all directions. No separation means all directions. Only if we're separate, there's I and you. But if there's oneness, there's no I, there's no you. In 47, Acharya Shankara is talking about having all objects negated. All objects have to be negated for one to at least understand they're the subject. And if you want to go deeper into this, if all objects are negated, there's also no subject. Because where there's objects, there's a subject. Where there's a subject, there are objects. Transcending both is who you are. And you can also interpret negated as renounced. You only have to renounce that which is not real. But if there's only a reality, there's no renunciation. All shared in Shloka 47. The reminder here is I, the I on our face. And the sutra's infinity is inclusivity. Infinity is inclusivity. One who is identified with the infinite, what is there to exclude? In 48, all is Brahman. Objects are Brahman, subjects are Brahman. There is only Brahman. We have to know what we are not to start to know what we are. Then it's not about knowing what we are. We just are. It's not about wanting to sleep. It's about sleeping, that feeling of oneness comes about. 48, the reminder is clay. And the sutra is, manifestation is not modification. Just because gold is, or in this case a pot, is put into the shape of a bowl, doesn't mean that clay has been modified. That clay is still clay. In 49, Acharya Shankara talks about those who are deep. The deepest are those who pay attention. And that's what Acharya Shankara is telling us to do, is to pay attention to our own experiences. He gives the example of a worm paying attention to a wasp. Paying attention means giving effort. That worm becomes a wasp. When I pay attention to the infinite, I become the infinite. The reminder is worm. The sutra is one identification, many renunciations. One identification, many renunciations. In Shloka 50, Acharya Shankara teaches us to go through the symptoms to the source. This is a great shloka that talks about how we have to first make the mind quiet of likes and dislikes. Only then can we get to the ego, which is filled with ignorance. Through the symptoms to the source. In 50, the reminder is journey, and the sutra is journey from darkness to light. In 51, our nature is to be virtuous. A lot of what is talked about in 51 is about being secure. When someone finds inner security, they express virtues. When someone is insecure, they feel jealous, they're anxious, and so on and so forth. So go home. Be virtuous. The reminder is security in 51. And the sutra is focus on light's flow. The flow of light is always outward. You are light. In 52, when someone starts to feel this light within themselves, they're able to show others that this is possible. And they show others that this is possible because they're not living for getting. This is a great shloka talking about how when someone is free, they move like the wind. The wind is always bringing freshness into our lives. Someone who is happy brings that same happiness into our lives. The reminder in 52 is wind, and the sutra is reflecting is relieving. When I reflect on who I am, I start to relieve myself of weight. That I need this to be happy. That was 52. In 53, Bhagavan Acharya Shankara talks about Bhagavan Vishnu. He says when water is mixed with water, when light is mixed with light, there's only water, there's only light. When we let go of our weights, we merge with that oneness. That oneness is Vishnu, and this can never be undone. Being healthy can be undone, correct? Being rich can be undone. Being in a relationship can be undone. This transformation in our lives can never be undone. The reminder in 53 is Vishnu, and the sutra is surrender makes one stronger. I surrender the ego to be infinite. In 54, we are shared Tat Brahmetya avadharayet. This is what Brahman is. What are you waiting for? When will you start to know that this is about you? When will you feel you are Brahman? The reminder in 54 is completeness. Completeness. The sutra is the pursuit has an end. The pursuit has an end. Unlike what we're feeling right now, there is an end to the pursuit of happiness by being happiness. In 55, when this pursuit ends, there is rest. And unless we are peaceful, there will never be rest. We will keep doing and doing and doing, which is why Vedanta is also known as Kritanta. The final doing is to be. The reminder in 55 is being, and the sutra is make truth the truth. The truth in our days should be the truth. That is the purpose of our lives. In 56, Acharya Shankara talks about that which is above and below and around and so on. When there is oneness, one is never lost. One is never lost. Tamas in our lives, or darkness in our lives, is purposelessness. And in this shloka we talked about someone who's never lost, which means they've achieved the purpose of life. In 56, the reminder is beings. Beings, because we studied animals, we studied plants, we studied the gods. It's that same oneness. And the reminder, the sutra is, infinity is indivisible. There's only oneness. On top of this, we say gods and humans and animals and plants, but that's still infinity. Just because we divide that doesn't mean this is divided. In 57, Acharya Shankara talks about the need for Vedanta, the need for someone to navigate Vedanta. If we want to be benefited specifically, we are going to need help. From Sadguru, from Shastra. The reminder is methodology. The sutra is, the method is use every method. In 58, if we do not follow Sadguru Shastra, we will only experience salt in our lives. We will never get to experience even a grain of joy. This shloka is almost like a or else. The reminder in 58 is salt. The sutra is I is inimitable. You cannot copy I. Neither a blade of grass nor the creator of that blade of grass, that is Lord Brahma. And finally in shloka 59, to find butter in milk requires churning. Churning here means change. It is only through changing can we find our essence. The reminder here is butter, and the sutra is churn up contentment. Oh.